JLR investigates. Colt Gray's grandmother speaks. This is Debbie Polhamus, and she is the grandmother of Colt Gray. Colt Gray is the 14-year-old arrested in connection with the terrible mass shooting that occurred in Winder, Georgia, Barrow County. And his grandmother shared some information about warning the school ahead of time about his mental state. Yes. I'm going to play this clip with you and then we'll further discuss, because there's a lot of information about the grandmother right here I would like to share with all of you.
Who's been speaking to a family member of the suspected shooter here. Sarah, thanks for coming on. You know, this suspect's aunt told you, and I'm quoting here, he was begging for help from everybody around him. And she says, another quote, the adults around him failed him. So what picture is she painting here of her nephew, and why is she blaming the adults in his world for this?
So she said that her nephew had made it clear to people around him, adults in his life, that he was suffering from severe mental health issues. She didn't elaborate, but that's how she described it. And various adults in his life tried to intervene, most notably his aunt, who you see quoted there, but also his grandmother. And what we've come to understand through text messages that this aunt provided is that the grandmother actually went to the school the week before the shooting happened to meet with a counselor in order to try to set up therapy for this 14-year-old. So that was 7 days or less prior to this shooting happening.
Now, his father is now also being charged. He was arrested last night. He was in court this morning. And sources are saying that this is hinging on the accusation that he made this gun available to his son, gave it to him as a Christmas present, even after they had this encounter with the FBI where there were concerns that this teenager may have made a threat about a school shooting. So what are you learning about that interaction with law enforcement, and what happened after that to get this father now charged?
So I understand from this teen's grandfather, so the father of his mother, to be clear, that there are several family members who were concerned about the teenager having access to weapons in the house. What the grandfather told me was that if his grandson had not had a weapon or access to a weapon, then he wouldn't have killed 4 people. And that's certainly the feeling of several family members, again, those who were trying to intervene. What we also understand about the home life is that the parents had a very difficult relationship. This teen's mother and father had at times lived together, at times not. And certainly family members were concerned that that unstable home life contributed to this 14-year-old's, his path towards eventually shooting and killing four people at Apalachee High School.
Sarah, and so
according to that report, the grandmother said to the media that she went to the school or warned the school 1 week prior to the shooting, warned the counselor about Mr. Colt Gray's mental state. So if that's true, it seems like the school was aware of Colt Gray. It seems like this side of the family. Now, Debbie here, she is the grandmother to Colt on the mother's side. But I also want to share some additional information here that you might not be aware of. The grandmother here herself used to be a school teacher. Yes, and apparently a school administrator with the Ben Hill County School District, according to her public LinkedIn profile. Very, very interesting here, considering her grandson committed the worst mass shooting in Georgia history. I wonder what else the grandmother knows about her grandson. It seems like, though, that the grandmother tried her best tried her best, because the grandfather also spoke out and said that, the grandfather is blaming Colt's father, Colin Gray. And it doesn't seem like the grandparents here, the grandmother and the grandfather on the mother's side, likes Colin Gray at all with this situation. Terrible tragedy occurred, but what I suspect is there has been numerous red flags across the board, and people generally begging for authorities, schools, officials to intervene and do something with Colt here. Ultimately, dad got him a gun, an AR-15 for Christmas, and then Colt went and did this terrible mass shooting. Now his dad is charged, knowingly and willingly providing him a weapon, knowing that he's a clear danger to himself and others. Wonder what else the grandmother knows, and hopefully she'll come out and share some more. It's just a terrible tragedy across the board. We are praying for the victims and everyone affected. Accountability time. He's going to be tried as an adult. He's charged with racks of charges now, which faces up to life in prison without the possibility of parole, though he is a juvenile. I don't know if that will apply, since the Supreme Court has said juveniles can't spend life, but he's definitely going to spend decades in prison, most likely. And the district attorney, Brad Smith, in that community, Barrow County, stated that he's going to be facing more charges. But the grandma speaks. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, covering this case at all angles. When more family members, if they speak at all, come out of the woodwork, I will share with all of you. I am JLR Investigates. Stay tuned.